Hey, so I'm back in the car after the final walkthrough, and now I am on my way to the attorney's office for the closing. I have about a 30-minute drive, so I'll tell you a little bit about this transaction. So originally this transaction was supposed to close on, like two weeks ago? We had a 3-week time frame, from the execution of the contract to closing. Something was wrong with the financing. My clients were not comfortable with, the new terms of the financing because they had to fulfill some other things in order to be financed by this specific company. Now, there was a whole mix-up. I didn't know what was going on until the day before we were supposed to close, and you know how that can be. It can cause a little bit of a frenzy. However, my clients were proactive. They did what they needed to do, and they found a new lender. And this new lender worked diligently so that we can get this closing to happen in 2 weeks. And here we are, 2 weeks later, we're closing. This is my second transaction with these clients, and actually today is June 12th. Last year, I closed on something with them on June 10th. And that one was a bit tough. It wasn't our fault at that time with that transaction. I have another video about it on my page. But this one, it was kind of on us because, when you're the buyer, you do have to fulfill the promises that you said you would in a timely manner, or there could be some issues, But thankfully, the seller decided to, not terminate the contract, and we're so grateful for it. I know that, my clients, they really wanted this home, and, I continue to work with them because I know they're serious people. They mean well. It's just, when you're new to something, there's a lot of moving parts. Even when you've been doing something for a while, things change. You have to consider other things. So it's really good to be open-minded, especially if you want to work in real estate, right? Or anywhere, right? You always want to be open-minded. You always want to be flexible, because just because you haven't encountered something, it doesn't mean that it's not happening, right? So I feel, for me as a new realtor, I am, 3 years in? Yeah, 3 years in, but like 1 year full time. No, 2 years full time, sorry. September of this year will be 2 years full time. And the transactions that I've had, all except for my last transaction that I recently closed on in April, they all have been tough. And instead of saying like, why does it have to be so hard? Why does it have to be so tough? I'm now shifting my mindset to say, well, why not? What's a challenge? I can handle a challenge. It may be frustrating at first, but you come out and you come out at the end and you know more. You have tougher skin. You're able to pivot a little better. I've been pivoting since age 8 years old when I first took ballet lessons, So I guess everything comes in handy for you, right? But no, in all honesty, I'm grateful to be working, to get the experience, even when I face challenges, because I know when you face challenges, you're just going higher. That's it. You're just going higher, and you're always going to receive some pushback. There's going to be opinions. You're going to have your own opinions. Others will have their opinions. And it is what it is. The only thing that matters is what God says. And what God says about us is a fact. So I am on this road, leaving Farmington, going to Naugatuck. I have some great transactions that are lined up for this month, and if not all this month, next month. So I'm very grateful, like I said, to just be working. There's a lot of things to consider when you're working in real estate. You know, it's not just being a realtor. There's, it's a lot. There's a lot, right? I can go on and on, but I just wanted to let you know a little bit about this transaction. I do have a short video of a walkthrough. This is the transaction, like I said earlier in the video, that I performed the appraisal for, which it made me say, what do you have to do to be an appraiser? Because I might take that one up too, because what I did, it wasn't too hard. It was simple. The only thing was I didn't really have service. It was that the app was so slow. But other than that, I may add appraisal to my list of tools in my toolbox, okay? But yeah, if you ever have any questions, if you're thinking about getting started, having a career in real estate, whether it's a realtor, whether an appraiser, whether one of the trades, like, don't sleep on those. Being a realtor, yes, you have to have tough skin and you have to have connections, because there are people that you may be connected to that will not use you, right? They may call you constantly asking you, can you do this? Can you do that? And then come to find out they're working with someone else. So I just say have boundaries. That's something that I've learned. Just have boundaries. Know what I will do, what I will not do, especially if we're not in a contract and I'm not for sure that you're going to work with me on that particular transaction. Then you might as well ask the realtor who you intend to work with, but it's not like any hard feelings or any bitterness. I've gone through that, though. Don't get me wrong. I've gone through that and have had to deal with that. I had to take it to the Lord and just say, Father, like, whatever it is inside of me that's making me feel defeated or making me feel like, well, what was wrong with me? Why didn't they choose me? Or feeling like I missed out on an opportunity because someone didn't choose me. It wasn't my opportunity to begin with, So, when you're a believer and you understand that our Heavenly Father, He does things according to His will, right? So whatever is in His will for you will happen. And if it's not, then it's not. And you have to be okay with that, which I had to come to grips with that. My broker at my brokerage, team leader rather, she had to help me understand that it's not personal, it's business, And same with, I have an accountability partner. She is not located in the state of Connecticut. She's in the state of Maryland. I happened to tell her about it too, and she said the same thing my broker said. So, you need people in your network that will help you not only just sell and buy real estate, to hire you to sell and buy real estate with them, but people that will really hold you accountable, remind you of your goals, talk you down from something ridiculous, right? And, someone that will remind you of the goal and remind you, don't take any of this personal. It's a business, because it really is. And, I've learned a lot. But yeah, like I said, my last transaction was the smoothest and the quickest. But this transaction and all the transactions before, there were delays. So I just see it as, the Lord is preparing me for something greater, to be able to deal with tough and sticky situations, right? But all right, I will pick this back up at the